Okay, folks, we're going to take the opportunity to take a quick look at two break-even calculations and then look at a cycle time calculation as we close up our conversation about operations here in our course. So let's take a look at problem 5.1, which is first off a break-even calculation, okay? And so whenever we're talking about break-even, we essentially need to get two pieces of information. The first is going to be fixed costs, that's the critical issue, and the second is contribution margin, okay? And contribution margin, as we know, is nothing more than sales price minus variable costs. So if we take a look at Green-Go monitors in this problem tells us that fixed cost in this case are going to be $100,000. So we're always in a break-even calculation trying to relate fixed costs to contribution margin. And in our case, contribution margin is the difference in terms of the selling price per monitor, $2,500, and the variable cost per monitor, or $2,000. And so our problem is going to revolve around comparing that $100,000 of fixed costs, again, a cost that doesn't change with respect to volume, to how much each unit that I sell contributes. And so each time I sell one monitor, it's going to give me $500 after paying my variable costs. That $500 therefore is available to cover my fixed costs. And so if each unit gives me $500 and I have to cover $100,000, well, it's simply a matter of dividing 100,000 by the $500 we get from each unit we sell to come up with 200 units that need to be sold to exactly cover that $100,000 in fixed costs. So 200 units sold, we break even, we cover our fixed costs. Since we're dealing with contribution margin, the variable costs have already been taken care of. And therefore, right at that break-even point, profit is equal to 0. The question then asks us to extend that just a little bit and say, well, what would happen in this case, though, if we sold 1,000 units? In other words, if we sold even more than we needed to break even, how much would that contribute to profit? Well, we know that the first 200 units that we're going to sell contribute nothing to profit because they're going to cover fixed costs. On the other hand, once we pay our fixed costs, when we sell those additional 800 units, each one of them is going to give us $500 of contribution margin. And that contribution margin, therefore, gets contributed directly to profit. So, simple matter, 800 units times the $500 that each unit contributes suggests that we're going to earn $400,000 of profits from selling 1,000 units. Now, if we're going to take a look at the next problem, we're going to see this is essentially the same type of problem, just some different factors here. And this could be problem 5.2. And in 5.2, James Penns has come up with a product they want to sell. And again, we want to calculate break-even, which means we need to find the critical pieces of information, fixed costs. And in this case, the fixed cost for James Penns is going to be $20,000. And our effort then is going to be to compare that fixed cost to the contribution margin that comes from selling each product. Now in this case, they first tell us that variable costs are going to be $30 per unit. And James Penns is considering selling each unit for $40. And the question is, if we can sell the product for $40 and it costs $30 for each unit in variable costs, that suggests each unit is going to contribute $10 of margin. And once you have those two numbers, we're good to go, because it simply is a matter then of comparing fixed costs to contribution margin to get our break-even point in units. Okay? And if that's the case, that's going to be the $20,000 of fixed costs divided by the $10 in contribution margin, which is going to give us a break-even point of 2,000 units. Okay? And again, that $10 is the contribution margin. That amount of money that's contributed after paying variable costs each time we sell a product, sales price minus variable costs. And it goes on to ask much the same thing again. What would happen, or how much would be contributed to profit if we sold 5,000 units? Again, if we sell 5,000 units, we have to recognize that the first 2,000 contribute nothing to profit because we have to sell those simply to break even. However, every unit we sell after breaking even is going to contribute $10 of margin, that's our contribution margin, directly to profit. So in that case, we're going to end up delivering $30,000 of profit from the 5,000 units that are sold.